Hey guys, it's Mary, and if you can't tell by the ogre ears and the title, today we are playing with the Shrek X ColourPop collection. I've already jumped in, swatched everything, and played with them, and it's just a gorgeous collection. I am truly happy with everything in here. Actually, roll that up. There is one dud that I'm just like a little meh about, and I will let you know which one that is as we go through. I just really love Shrek. I feel like it's one of those series that really caters to adults and children. I've watched it for years. We watched it with my stepson, who is now 21, and I still watch it with my daughter, who is now 8 today. So it kind of goes across the generations. I feel like Shrek just has magic, and I really love the story behind it with truly accepting and loving yourself for who you are inside and out. I just love the message behind that story. I'm actually wearing little heart earrings made by one of my bestest friends because Shrek is also about true love. And yeah, so I felt like it fit. We're gonna get as many of these things on our face and body as we possibly can today. So first up we have the Shrek ColourPop eyeshadow palette, which is by far my favorite part of the collection. I am, just like an eye lover. I mean, whether it's eyeshadow sticks, eyeshadow palettes, like I just love eye makeup. I always have, and it's a really gorgeous color story. I will go ahead and throw the swatches up, and as the swatches are up, I will go through the shade names just because I really think they're cute. We'll start up here at this one and we'll work our way across and then come down to this row and work our way across. One up is Layers. Next is Shrek Happens. Better Out Than In. Short Supply. Sir Knight, Gingy, I'm Making Waffles, What the Shrek, Duloc, My Swamp, Grr, That'll Do Donkey, Guarded Castle, Nice Boulder, and Fare Thee Well Ogre. So I must admit, when I first saw this collection and I went to click at it, I was expecting it to be not as gorgeous as it is. I was expecting it to be a little bit more childish, not as wearable of a color story. I feel like in here the only one that's kind of like out there is the, quote unquote Shrek green, the one that's called Shrek Happens, of course. And other than that, I feel like you could do everything with this palette. You could go really smoky, you could go really shimmery, you could go really everyday. I was really shocked to see that there were no Super Shock shadows in here, like just single Super Shocks to go with this collection. I kind of expected that from ColourPop, and I thought there would be just a special shade or two that were in the Super Shock collection, but some of these are kind of that like bouncy soft texture. You do have to be careful with how hard you press them. You can see how I've already kind of like, this one is a little muffled up. The palette itself is gorgeous. The whole mattes and shimmers alike were very pretty in here. There is one that is pretty chunky, but it's swatched pretty nice. There's 2 blushes in here. So the blushes are the Instant Crush Lip and Cheek Balm. So you can use these on your lips and your cheeks. And there's one that's more of a like pinkish shade and one that is more of a berry shade. I think they're both gorgeous, and you can use this formula, you can use it on top of powders or on top of creams. The pinkish one is called True Love's Form. The berry shade is called Fairytale Things, and this packaging is super cute. It honestly reminds me a lot of the new CL SPF blushes that just came out. They're powder blushes, not cream, but just the packaging itself is very similar. Anyway, except for the heart thing and the Shrek, clearly. But it's just really cute, and I love the packaging on the blushes. A mascara, which is, it's the ColourPop Volumizing Mascara, the BFF Volumizing Mascara. I'm gonna say this is not my favorite. So This is the one that I would say is like a dud for me. It didn't really do much for my lashes. I know that I used to really love the ColourPop Blue Ya Mind mascara, and I just, maybe that was a different formula, because this one just was not it. It was like pretty clumpy and dry, so I will just say that off the bat. But I will go ahead and throw this on my lower lash line. The mascara is in the shade Dragon. It's a pretty like burgundy color. It also has this ColourPop BFF Cream Gel Liner in the shade Fire Breath, and it's a multi-chrome, and this is absolutely gorgeous. It has like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's got like bronzy, orangey, reddish, kind of like a dark green. Oh, just really flattering with the shades that are in this palette as well. I think it's super wearable. Again, I'll toss that word around because maybe not wearable to everybody, but I think it's really wearable. There's also a rollerball gloss in the collection that has Gingy on the container, and it's super cute. It kind of smells like candy buttons, and it's got like little candy buttons in the actual jar, and my husband was joking that like the candy buttons is taking up all the space, so he's like, light on the ice, light on the candy buttons, because you don't get much gloss. But I think this is really cute, and I'm gonna give it to my daughter. She's 8, and I think she'll really enjoy that. It's just super cute for her to carry around. And then the other lip products that come in here, there are 4 of the Ultra Glossy Lips. This is probably my second favorite thing in the collection. There are 2 shimmers and 2 kind of like glossy mattes. The lightest one is gonna be Shrek, which is called Ogre, and it's like a white iridescent with kind of like some green glitter throughout, and it's really pretty. I think this would also be really pretty like with a lip liner and tossed on. It's really gorgeous and juicy. And then my favorite one is Donkey, which the shade is called Noble Steed. This one is kind of like a nude, like a mauvish nude color. And the formula on these is also really nice. The next one is Fiona's color, which is called Ogress, and it's like a pink with shimmer. Really pretty. And the only one that I think that I won't get much use out of is Lord Farquaad, which I'm glad it's the character that I don't really care for as much. And his shade is called Short Lord, and it's just like a really deep, matte, glossy pink. I will probably pass this along to someone that would get more use out of this color. The last thing in the collection is this body glitter, which I will say it is pretty chunky, but it's really pretty. It's got like a very sheer base with some like greenish, teal, gold, peach, and pink glitters throughout, and a lot of them are pretty large size glitters. So we are gonna go ahead and toss this onto our chest and our shoulders today. I'm not sure how much I would always like rock this on the daily, but I would wear it like for, you know, like for Halloween, for special occasions, for certain things where you just want to look jazzed up. My daughter would really get a kick out of this too. And I think you can also put this in your hair, I think I heard. And the first thing we're gonna do is get some of these shadows on our eyes. So, okay, I'm gonna grab a blending brush, and the first color that I'm gonna go in with is That'll Do Donkey, because we have to use Donkey because Donkey's my favorite. So we're gonna go in with him, and these are very pigmented, so I'm gonna go very light-handed. It's a pretty deep shade, and I'm going to start with this into my crease. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna go in to my crease, and you see how pigmented that is? So very light-handed. And I do have very hooded eyes, so I will always blow that crease color out probably more than most people would, just so you can kind of see it still when I open my eye, because as you can see, when I open my eye, like everything disappears. So that's why you're gonna see me doing that. I would have to say that my favorite Shrek movie is the first one. I think it's definitely one of the series where they did a good job with the sequels, and they came up with good storylines, and they kept it going. And I just think that the first one had something really magical about it. Most of the time in series of movies, there's always, like the first one I think always kind of holds some sort of special magic, and Shrek is no different. You know, it's where he meets Fiona. It's where she really comes into her own, where she learns to truly realize that her value has nothing to do with the way that she looks. It has nothing to do with what other people think about her. It really has to do with how she values herself. And once she starts to value herself, everything just falls into place. And yeah, I can relate with that. I can 100% relate with that. I wish I would have understood the moral of that story and applied it in my life 20-something years ago when I first saw it. When did the first Shrek came out? I don't know. I'm not sure when the first one came out, but I knew it was a long time ago because I remember my stepson used to have this little Shrek mask and walk around in his Shrek mask, and we'd watch the first movies. And now my daughter is 8 and we've watched the first one. I don't think she's, my youngest, I don't think she's seen all of them. I think she's only seen probably the first one and maybe the second. She's very particular, the youngest one. She will rarely watch cartoon movies with you. It has to really draw her interest. She's into more stuff like Adley and Hope Scope and stuff like that. So she's like, cartoons. But my oldest, she loves to rock a good cartoon with me, and we will, yeah, we've seen Shrek a few times. Next, let's go in with this burgundy color. And that one is called Guarded Castle. This one right here. And again, I'm going to go in very, very light-handed because these are, like I said, super pigmented. So I'm going to go in with a smaller blending brush. And for this one, I'm just going to go into my outer V. Very simple eye looks. Nothing complicated around here. I love eyeshadow, but I definitely, you know, most of the time I'm just doing very, very simple looks like this. I see girls do the most intricate, beautiful, artistic, creative eye looks. And I used to do a lot more detailed looks than I do nowadays when my kids weren't in the picture. But now I just find myself like, I just want to get something on and look cute. You know what I mean? Usually on the day-to-day, I will just throw like a wet look eyeshadow all over my lid and put some bronzer on. And then on days that I have more time, I will whip out a palette and try to do something fun. Don't watch me tug my eyes. I know, it's bad. I shouldn't do it. I'm not really liking this blending brush. It's kind of scratching my eye. I'm going to switch to something softer. Yeah, there we go. Much better. So we're going to go ahead and start playing with some of these shimmers. So I'm going to go in with this one called Grrr. This one right here. Ooh. I'm going to put a little bit of setting spray with that one because with shimmers I always like to stick a little bit of setting spray. I mean, ColourPop's shimmers work good on their own, but that's just how I roll. I like to put a little setting spray and make it pop a little bit more. That is so pretty. That is so pretty. Oh my gosh. I love that color. Yeah, that's very pretty. That's gorgeous. Grrr. That's good. I wanted to say good. It doesn't sound right though. But that is... Who says grrr in Shrek? My mind is going blank on that one. Who says grrr in Shrek? Grrr. It's probably just... Is it when Shrek gets mad? Yeah, like when Shrek gets mad. Grrr. But I do know that that shimmer is really pretty. That's what I do know. Wow, 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 wow. I wish I could put all of these on my eyes, but I can't. But I wish I could. Ooh, okay, that's pretty. Now, but we can't put another shimmer on our eyes because we've got more. We're gonna do the inner corner and kind of like pull it up like right here and go in with this one called Sir Knight right there. I couldn't decide what I wanted to do, and I was asking my daughter, like, which one do you think, like, what color do you think I should use? And I had already in my mind, when I was showing her the swatches, I was already like eyeballing this one. Like, I knew somehow I wanted to put this in there. Out of the 15 eyeshadows in here, she pointed at that one. It was like, you gotta use that one. And I was like, okay. So we're gonna take that into the inner corner and like pull it up. Okay, hold on. That inner corner. Oh yeah. And then I'm just gonna spread it out so they blend in together. That's super pretty. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye. And that is one of those shadows that feels like it has, you know, that bouncy, soft, kind of Super Shock formula. But why didn't they come out with like something with a really cute name to it that goes with the movie and is like a, maybe like a multi-chromed green. Even this, like this in a single would have been nice. But yeah, I guess it's nice to get it in the palette too. But I just feel like if somebody didn't want to buy the entire palette or buy the entire collection, it would have been fun to have a Shrek themed single Super Shock, you know, the classic Super Shock that everyone loves and adores, and the Shrek theme with maybe like a cute Shrek packaging. I don't know. I think that would have been cute. It's the Shrek collection, so we're gonna have to go in with green. We've got on a couple different shades of green, so why not throw on another one? This is like a muted, it's like swamp green. It says My Swamp, which I think is a perfect name for this color. Perfect name for this color. The palette does have a bit of kick up, especially on the mattes, not so much on the shimmers, but I don't mind kick up. I think powder is gonna kick up. That's pretty. Ooh, very nice. And then I'm just gonna blend out that corner again. I didn't put anything else on the brush. I'm just gonna blend out that little bit of green that I touched to the bottom. Alright, you know what's coming next. We are throwing some of that multi-chromed gel cream eyeliner on our lids. And again, look away, look away, look away while I tug at my eyes, because I don't know how else to do this without tugging at my eyes. So I don't know how anyone does it without tugging at their eyes, to be honest with you. Especially right now, I'm trying to do this with a mirror so far away from me, so it's not in the camera that, like, I don't know how anybody does that, but this liner, and it just like, because it's not so crazy and it just like goes and blends so nicely with those eyeshadows, it just kind of like makes you look like you have a much fuller lash line, and also provides this really nice reflect with all those multi-chromes in it that just flatters your eyes. I feel like if you were to look at this just by the swatch, or to look at this just by the component, you might think, whoo, crazy fire red. It's called, like, what is it called again? Dragon's breath? Fire breath? What is it called? I already forgot. Fire breath, yeah. And you might think that it's too much, but I honestly think it's just enough. Just enough. Now, like I said, I'm not a fan of that mascara for my full lashes and I want this eye look to be pretty. So I am gonna go ahead and throw on some of this little, just it's the Lancome Hypnos Drama, like a sample that I have. So I'm gonna throw that on to my top lashes and then we'll be right back to play with the ColourPop Volumizing BFF Mascara. And I'm gonna quickly, I think, throw some of this on in my waterline just because I think it would be super pretty before we do that lower lash mascara. Ooh, we're going bold, right? Today we came to play. We came to play today. And then now we'll throw, I'm trying not to make sad faces. I just really did not like this mascara. It's like, I don't know, is it already like goopy and something's already off with this? I don't know. See, I don't even want to put it on my lower lashes. I'm like, oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. For the sake of science, to show that I don't like it. Ah. Okay. When that happens, don't panic. Just let it dry, let it sit on your face and drive you nuts. Let it sit on your face and drive you nuts until it's all the way dry, and then just brush it off with a spoolie. See, I already don't like it. It's like, I don't even know how you can clump lower lashes, but this thing can clump lower lashes. I don't know, was the BFF Blew Your Mind a different formula? What? I just don't remember it sucking. I bought so many tubes of that blue mascara. I don't know. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm doing for that. Ooh. I don't want to mess it up. Okay, we'll leave that alone. Now, we'll back up a little bit because now we're going to go ahead and throw on our blush. So, I couldn't pick and choose. I think they're both really pretty. So we're going to do one of those like ombre little blush moments. And remember, we know that's there. We know it's there. But we're going to come back to it when it's dry. Because if we try to take it off now, it's going to smear everywhere. It's not going to be pretty. So just leave it. Just going to leave it. Just going to pretend. Just going to pretend it's not there. So I'm going to take this Nikki LaRose N17 brush. I'm going to go in with a little bit of the, actually let me do the darker one first so that we can do our ombre from back here, work it towards the front. Yeah, very scientific process. All right, no, these are very, very pigmented too, so just like, just a touch. You don't need a lot. I'm trying to get into my blush era, you know, but I still am very held back with my blush. I'm trying because I feel like, you know, I don't know. I love that bold blush look. I just, I get scared with it on me. I'm like, man, I want to be confident with the blush. Like, I feel like this collection is friendly for all ages. Although I'm beginning to realize very, very quickly that I don't like this whole like over 40 friendly thing and stuff. I was mentioning it in my last video because I just feel like there's so many videos that focus on like over 40 and over, like, you know, can't everybody just wear what everybody wants to wear? Can we be, you know, 43 and put on the Shrek collection? Yes, we can, you know? Now, see, I'm trying to enter into my bold blush era, but I still feel like I went a little ham. So I am going to take a powder brush and just like do a little one of these numbers just to make me feel better because I like it kind of blended out. And this collection did not have a face highlighter in it, so I'm real quickly just going to go into this little quad and I'm going to grab my Real Techniques brush, the gold and the pink. Like I'm going to kind of, the gold and the pink a little bit. just so we can get a little highlight on our cheeks, because I feel like this look needs a highlight. You know, are the eyes highlighted on themselves enough? Yeah, but we need a highlighter. Like, we need a highlighter. I mean, we are going to Target later. And Costco. Everyone can enjoy my Beauty Shrek collection at Costco. And I'm gonna love it because I am loving this look. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a highlight going on. Now, let's go ahead and jump into these lippies. So the first thing we're gonna do, I just wanted to show, it's clear, but the Gingy gloss, like I said, it's full of the candy buttons, and it's just one of those roller balls. Clear, nothing special. Once you get it rolling out, it's pretty nice. It's very thin. I don't think it would be very long lasting, but I do think, you know, if there's something that's like childish, you know, in this collection, or that's more like kid friendly, like I said, I'm gonna pass this on to my little one, and I think it'd be super cute, like in her backpack or her little purses. And I think are so adorable. Okay, so that's that one. I'm gonna start out with the lightest one, which is the Shrek one, Ogre. And this one, I feel like I was a little scared of it on its own, but it's really not that crazy once you get it on. Especially once you shear it out. Not go too thick. You don't have to go too thick with these. So yeah, it's like an opalescent, iridescent, greenish, you know, different colored, hollow, all the things, glitter. This is Ogre. Very nice on the lips too. Very comfortable formula, long lasting. I wore one out to the movies last night. Donkey, of course. I think we are gonna end up with Donkey. So let me go ahead and show, let's get Farquaad out of the way. Let's just get Shorty out of the way. Let's give him his moment. A lot of people would really like this color. It's just not what I really kind of go for. Way too pinkish, reddish, deepish. Just not my jam. This one is called Short Lord. Short Lord. Short Lord did seem to stain my lips just a little bit, so I will mention that. The next one is Ogress, and this is Fiona's like pink shimmery color, which I think too I will get a ton of use out of. It's still pigmented enough to show up on my lips, which, you know, glosses have to be pretty decently pigmented to show up on me because I have very pigmented lips. This is Ogress. Okay, and so we're gonna end with our favorite, which is Noble Steed, which is Donkey's like nude color. This is like my type of gloss too, which is so ironic because this is like, if you were to look in my gloss collection, you'd find quite a few that are right up this alley. Ooh. Yeah, so it's like that pretty nude. Okay, let's finally get this off of our face. I think we have gone long enough to be dry. Let's see. It better come off all the way. I'll be pissed. I waited with you on my face, damn it. Are you not coming off? Okay, it came off a little bit. Came off a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of setting spray to just kind of meld everything in together. That is the MAC Alcohol-Free Fix Plus. Alright, so last thing up is the body glitter, and we're gonna go ahead and just toss a little bit of this on. Maybe, you see how pretty that is? It is like a pretty glitter. I'm just gonna put maybe a little bit on our collarbones, you know, like the chest area. Glitterify like my little star tattoos. And just like spread it out a little bit, because it is like, you see, hopefully you can see how like I just take that tiny little bit and then it just continues to spread. So you do not need a ton. Let's go a little bit. We'll have glitter everywhere. We don't care. And then I'm gonna go like on my shoulders. So hopefully you can you see that? I can see it. I'm gonna be careful with what I'm touching after this because I need to wipe my hands off, but let me just little glittery shoulder moment. Like if your kids were dressing up like a fairy or a mermaid or something like that, if you have little ones, or if you were dressing up like a fairy or a mermaid, or you just want to feel like a fairy or a mermaid, this would be nice. And this is called, the shade of this is called Ogres Are Like Onions, and it's the Glitterily Obsessed Body Glitter Gel. That's what that is. We're glittery, we're shimmery. All right. I almost want to like take my ogre's ears off, but then I don't, because I feel like I only got headband head, you know. It is what it is, but just so we can get an idea for the makeup. I really, really, really like the way that this makeup look came out. That palette is absolutely gorgeous. So again, we'll just really quickly run through like yes or no on the products. Absolute win. This is a gorgeous palette. I think it's like of all ages, super friendly. All the shades are super friendly. I'll even rock that green a little bit here and there. I'll do it. The blushes are really, really nice. They do play well over powder because I did have my whole base routine done before I started this collection, and they worked very, very nicely. This, probably the only thing that's childlike. I'll pass it on to my little one, but it's not bad. It's just not like mind-blowing. It's just a clear rollerball gloss, and probably not much of it because it's full of those candy buttons. But they nailed that scent. And I did want to mention too, on the lip oils, these are very nice. I think they're long lasting, super smooth and buttery formula. I would buy this in or out of the Shrek collection. I've never tried the ColourPop Ultra Glossy Lip. And I wanted to say they each have kind of their own individual smell. One of them kind of smelled like Play-Doh, and the other one kind of, the Lord Farquaad one was a little fruity. And then this one, my husband nailed it. So if you happen to pick this up, give the Shrek gloss a sniff, and it's gonna throw you back to your childhood. It smells exactly like when you were a child and you used to get those like scratch and sniff stickers, or sometimes the pencils, and it was like the chocolate scent. It smells exactly like that, like no other chocolate, just that scratch and sniff chocolate. The fact that he nailed that, because as soon as I smelled it, I was like, that's something. And he called it, like, he called it. The highlighter, do you want to be a mermaid? Do you want to be a fairy for the day? Are your kids dressing up for Halloween? I mean, it'll come in handy at some point in time. Again, I think you can like rock this in your hair as well, so I just think it's super cute. This collection, overall, I really, really enjoyed. The multi-chromed eyeliner is a super, super beautiful eyeliner. Don't be afraid of this packaging or the fact that it's multi-chrome. It's gorgeous. But this can go. That, Garbaggio, is that? I don't know how to say, I forget. I'm doing Duolingo, but I forgot how to say garbage right now. My mind is going blank. Okay, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of your day with me. I was uber excited to get my hands on this Shrek collection, and I'm not disappointed at all whatsoever. If you happen to pick up one or two of the pieces, I think all of them are great. You know my thoughts. If you enjoyed today's video at all, I would truly appreciate it if you would take a quick moment to like, comment, or subscribe if you'd like to see me in the next one. Thank you so much, and bye.